What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Trinity Road Times Premium. Got a special video today. Um, this is actually a free video, so this is going to be made available to everyone. If you enjoy this type of content, you enjoy what we're talking about here, and want to talk more sports with people, check us out. Obviously, TrinityRoadTimes.com, but also check out our premium. Do 1 to 2 videos like this a week for premium subscribers talking about schematics, player usage, general stuff like that. It's only $3 a month, so one of the cheapest premium things you can buy, and you'll get access to this type of content and our premium message board. So be sure to check that out. I'll put the link in the video description. That's what it's called. But now on to the actual video. So CJ Bailey was an interesting quarterback to watch this year. He did a lot of really good things and a lot of really not so good things. But one thing that I always like to do with quarterbacks is, and this is fun to do with Bailey because you can see it really well, is watch them play through the same concepts over the course of the year, right? And so this is a concept on the screen right here that they ran throughout the season. Not a ton. I actually like it a lot. I wish they ran it more. But we have 5 instances of this pulled up right now, and we're going to look at all 5. And you can actually watch Bailey develop example by example as a quarterback. So that's really cool, really fun thing to look at. So we're going to do that and watch him play by play get better at running the same thing. And it's really I thought this would be a fun video. So first and foremost, what is this concept? So I called it Haas Bow. You could call it of any number of things, whatever you really want. But it is a progression based passing concept with really 4 reads and an alert. So what does that mean? Well, it's a pure progression most of the time. So this is Justin Jolie right here. And this is the first progression in this play, is this seam route right here. So this seam route is against the zone, is designed to influence the safety. So this safety right here is the middle of field safety. Clemson's going to play cover 3 here. So Jolie's seam route is designed to influence that safety. It's basically what you would call a clear out or a grab route. So very rarely is this ever get thrown. It is Bailey's first read. He's supposed to look at that safety and that route and make sure that safety runs with it. Because if he doesn't, it's a coverage bust, it's a touchdown, right? So make sure that safety runs with that, right? And if he does, you've created a lot of space right here for this second progression, which is, I don't know who that is. We'll see when he turns his jersey number, but this dig route, right? So this dig route here will come into that space, and it can be open similar to a dagger concept. You might even be able to call it a dagger concept, even though those are usually run from the same side of the field. But this dig route here, and you're going to have an underneath zone player here. So if this guy drops to this is here, right? So that's what you'd call a high-low read. So basically the progression is seam, check the safety, high-low the linebacker, high-low the hook zone defender, which is going to be the zone defender. So the flat is here, and this would be the hook. And then it depends on how many people are in the underneath zone, but basically what they're doing here is stacking routes on top of this guy. So they're hoping, State is hoping that the way this play typically runs, Jolie will carry this safety. This player will hook up to this hitch route. I think this route can convert into like a pivot route or like an out if it's man coverage. But he'll hook up to that, and then this will be free to run through space right here, and Bailey can hit that. This is a check and release from the back, so check for someone to block your pass protection responsibilities. If there's nothing there, release and become a check down. And then this is just an alert hitch or an alert comeback, right? So sometimes this is not going to be part of the progression. Sometimes it's where Bailey's going to look first, and you'll see both during this video. So if this picture is good for this route, and it does look good, right, because there's a lot of depth right here from the corner, right, Bailey can throw this first. It's free access is what this is called, right? So if it's there, take it. If it's not, don't. Basically is the concept. And you'll see a lot of pass plays that have a free access component built in for this reason. So this corner bails out. This will be easy yards. Take the easy yards. So that's how this is supposed to work, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, alert. All right, so let's watch the first instance of this play. So based on what we know here, you're thinking probably Bailey should be looking at this hitch at the bottom of the screen first because there's so much depth there. It's the alert hitch, right? So we're gonna look at that. Now the one thing that's gonna happen here, it's a little different, is Justin Jolie is gonna sit this seam route down right here. I don't actually know why. I don't know what rule is in place to make him do that. He doesn't do that in any of the other examples, so I can't speak to that. But you'll see that. That's the only difference that you'll see. You won't see that in the other plays. But we're going to watch this take place here, so pay attention to C.J. Bailey there in the back. You're going to see Clemson drop into a cover 3. Tons of space there at the bottom of the screen, and his eyes first, you can see his eyes right there. Right, they're down on, I think that's the Kari Collins on that hitch, right? So that's where his eyes are the whole way through. It's throwable. This was actually Bailey's best throw, pretty much in any concept, was the comeback route, right? He threw, his timing was good on this stuff. Like, this is something he likes to throw, and he's looking to throw it, but the picture turns bad on him because of this guy, I think. So he's going to come off of that. That's fine. And he's going to come back to Jolie, but he's already leaving the pocket. So Jolie sitting that down like we talked about. Obviously, as he does that, assuming that's, everything is connected there from the quarterback's perspective, that should be a relatively easy throw. But you can see he's already on the move. And he's got a pretty clean pocket, right? I mean, that's a pretty clean pocket. And he's already moved. And this has been a problem with C.J. Bailey early in the season last year, was that he would leave pockets for no reason. And that's fine. Really, that's freshman behavior. It's nothing really that big of a deal to think long term, but it was a problem in these instances. And that ball probably should have gone to Justin Jolie already. See, he's already on the move, and you can see the pocket still in place. There was never any reason to do this. And it turns into a scramble drill. So now you've just got a total scramble drill with everyone on the move trying to run with the quarterback. And then you can see Bailey's talent here because there's some talent. There's an awkward arm angle. Got it to Jolie. But if he hits him earlier, right, you got a chance for a much bigger play. So you see the pocket exit early. And that's something that you're going to see in some other stuff as well. So we're going to jump to the second example here. This is from the Syracuse game. So this is the same play. Let me draw it out again real quick. So this is the same play. You're going to get your alert hitch over here. Jolie right here, going to run the seam route. You're going to get a dig here from Noah Rogers. And you're going to get this shallow hitch or stick route from, I think that's Concepcion. You could call that a pivot concept. You could call that a bow concept, right? So I call this Haas bow, right? So this is Haas on the top right here. This is Haas, right? Because you have a hitch on the outside and a seam in the slot. So hitch is outside, slot, seams, seam, slot, whatever you want to call it. And then this has been called a bow concept, but this could be, you could easily play this as like a stick route where it breaks outside against man coverage, and then it might more resemble like a pivot concept. But it's the same thing we just talked about, right? 1, 2, 3. So now we're going to watch this take place. And I know this play does not go all the way through, but let's watch what happens here. So you had that shallow corner at the top. Bailey glances at that very quickly, comes off of it fast. And he's on Justin Jolie, right? And you'll probably see this from a better angle if we watch a closer camera angle. But his eyes get to Jolie right there. You see it right there. And the read is this dude, this post safety in the middle of the field. So he needs to run with Justin Jolie. That is his job. If he doesn't, Bailey should throw the ball to Justin Jolie. So let's see what happens here. He's staring at it. He's staring at it. The safety appears to have just completely dozed off. I don't think he ever even moved his feet on this play. I have no idea what was going on there. This is about to be wide, wide open. I mean, we're talking set 60-yard touchdown pass here. It's hard to see from this camera angle, but Bailey's already come off of it. So he's jumped that read basically, right? He didn't read that all the way through. He should have thrown the football. Now this should have been clear what's happening before he actually came off of it. Like this guy is not moving. So that should be right down the seam, a strike for a touchdown as long as he can outrun this. Uh, Bailey comes off of it. He didn't feel comfortable with that. I don't know why. He comes off of it, and he's going to come down to this high-low. So remember we talked about the hook defender, right? This is the hook defender. Flat, hook, hole, hook, flat. Look at this guy, where he is in relation to Concepcion. He's literally on him, like he's touching him. So that's about as clear of a read as you can have in a high-low. So uh, Noah Rogers is going to break this into this open space. Should be a bullet right in there. That's what we should be looking at. There you go. See, comes wide open over the middle. Bailey's looking right at it, kind of pumps his shoulders, and then pulls his head down. And we'll look at it from the other angle as well, so you can see it a little bit clearer. So let's watch it through here. So eyes way outside, checks that hitch. Back to Jolie, back to Rogers, pumps, and then runs. I mean, those were wide open receivers. So it's, to me, like, you never know what's in a kid's brain, right? But early on in this season, it was like a lack of comfort with zone throwing windows, I thought you may have seen with CJ Bailey, and a lack of comfort in the pocket. The latter of which is certainly a just standard issue freshman behavior, right? Um, but it's good to see improvement, and we're going to start to look at some improvement in this exact concept here soon. But this is not what you want. And this is the kind of thing that doesn't show up in the stats either, right? This ends up being like 9-yard gain on a scramble, right? That's fine, but this should have been a 60-yard touchdown. And if it's not that, it should have been a strike to Rogers for a first down. So, that's the kind of thing that you were looking at early in the season with Bailey. So let's jump over to the next example. This is from the Duke game. So this one's a little bit different, right? Because this is not going to be cover 3. The last two we looked at were cover 3. This is going to be cover 1, right? So first and foremost, hitch, slot, seam. Then you're going to get hitch and dig. Same thing. All of this is man coverage, right? So this might be banjo rules. I don't remember. This is pure man. Normally, like we talked about earlier, you're going to see Bailey look to this hitch. In this case, I don't think you will because this is press. In this press man, that hitch is not on the table. It might. I didn't watch this play. It might even convert into a fade. We'll see, but not on the table as an alert. So you're already automatically to read 1 here, and that's going to be this. So when you pick up man coverage here, right? So the safety is still part of that, right? So if the safety is going to work over here, you're not going to throw this one-on-one seam. But you're going to have this route probably is going to break back this way. You might have that. But this in breaker, as long as you don't have like a rat player that's dropping in here, should be there. And that should be there, right? So let's see what happens here. This guy's going to draw his own lines. All right, so here we go. Got snap. Quickly off of that hitch. Now he's already come off of Jolie there, which has got, you can see the safety has started to come this way. Cover 1 safety, just reading the quarterback's eyes. Right, he's already got that safety moving that way. So you've created this one-on-one here. So if you know this is man coverage, like I kind of like that, start over here and get back to this because you're going to win here. I mean, that's Justin Jolie is one of the best players in the ACC. Like, you're going to win there. So he comes over here. It's tough to see where he looks at next, but he's already on the move. He's already on the move. This is a clean pocket right here. I mean, this is like about as good of a pocket as you could have. I mean, look at this. You can't do a whole lot better than that. And Jolie, obviously, like we said, he won, right? So, um, yeah, I mean, in man coverage, that progression might change a little bit, but he didn't even look over here, right? He looked maybe for a second, came back over here. This receiver, I think that's Noah Rogers, is ultimately going to win. So you'll see him. He wins right here. He's wide open. So you got this and this. And you got a quarterback that's on the move from a clean pocket. So like this Duke game was probably his worst game of the season because stuff like this happened a decent amount more than it should have. But yeah, I mean, you like both of those options against cover one. I don't know exactly what State would be teaching there. I don't think this would be a pure progression against man coverage the same way that it would against zone, but it would depend, I guess. But yeah, I mean, very similar stuff, right? Like not playing through the reads, not progressing well. See if we can see what he looks at here first. And it's just freshman behavior, right? This isn't like a. We're not here to say you're gonna have your opinion change of this video probably on the next two reps. But this is just early on for him in his career, right? But he never even really looks at Jolie. And I think you have the opportunity to come back to that. I don't know exactly what he was being taught in that scenario, but even if that's not it, and this inbreaker is what they're looking for, I mean, look at the space. And if that's what you want, you should probably be looking over here first to influence that safety so he can't come down on this. So it's just it's not reading through the concept well. It's just not an effective way to play quarterback like that. And then he's bailing super early. So there's three examples of similar issues, right? Here's a quarterback that's struggling with pocket presence, that's struggling to read through the concepts. He's either sticking on reads too long or he's jumping off of them too fast. He's in a hurry, all right? He's in a hurry and he's not confident in what he's looking at. So let's jump ahead now to the Georgia Tech game. So this is an interesting one. Georgia Tech is going to play cover three here. So they're going to play cover three. So we'll draw the concept up real quick again, as we've been doing. Hitch, seam, stick, or sticker, hitch, whatever you want to call it, dig. So this is looking like cover zero, but Georgia Tech is actually going to bail into a cover three here, and Bailey is going to do a great job reading through this concept. All right, so this is what we want to see from him. This is really good. So let's get this going. So there's the bail, right? He sees it. And he is, you got a flat defender coming over here. You got the bail from the corner, obviously cover three. This is the middle of field safety. This route needs to carry him. All right, and Bailey needs to help that happen, right? Get your eyes over there, make that happen. He does. Now, this is going to happen off screen, but there's a different view of it that we'll look at. But he gets that safety moving, comes back to the bow side, right? The bow concept. Here's your high-low read. This guy is less than a yard away from Concepcion. Well, maybe a yard and a half. So he's low, so the high route should be there. And you can see Bailey's head. Look at Bailey's head. It's turned back to the right side here. So he read through this. Clear this out. Stands in the pocket. And he hits it. There you go. All right, so here's the back view of this play. And remember, this is the middle of the field safety. So this is the guy that the seam route needs to carry. So pay close attention to that guy and pay close attention to CJ Bailey's eyes, where his helmet is pointing, and you'll watch him read through this, right? So he's to his left, still to his left. There goes the safety, reading his eyes, working his way that way. He's still reading, I believe that's Jolie, right? So you can see Jolie right up the seam. Safety's getting over there. This is your high-low read on the backside. So his eyes now have come back this way. So looked at the seam route, got the safety to move, confirmed that, came back the other way. And so now, and this is a cool view of this, right? So now this is your read, right? And you're into the second part of the progression here. Look at the space. Look at all that. And this guy could be blowing that up, playing high to low, sinking back here, but he's not. Right? He's a yard away from KC, very shallow. So this becomes a pretty easy read here. Look at that space. So Bailey reads through this perfectly. And this is so cool, right? I mean, it's a little bit of a high throw. You could argue maybe it was a little late, probably negligibly so. But what we're looking at is a quarterback grow in real time. I mean, we looked at those first three plays, like he was getting out of the pocket. He was either not even looking at Justin Jolie when he should be, or he was skipping over stuff, or not throwing the ball to open receivers. He does a really, really good job with this play. Like, you need to get that safety to move, gets in to move, comes back, high lows the hook defender's low, fires it into the hole. I think it's probably just a hair late and a hair high, but that's not really something that I would be worried about right now. Good stuff. We'll watch it one more time because it's so beautiful. It's the same concept too, right? I mean, we're watching him execute the same concept better as the season goes on. Left side, following the seam route, safety moves, break on the dig from Collins. 15 for Georgia Tech is low on Concepcion, right into the hole. Good stuff. Real good stuff. Now, the last one, we're going to jump over here to a football game that did not actually happen against ECU. No record of this. But same concept. And again, cover three. So we ended up with a lot of cover three in here. I think four of these 5 clips were cover three. But same concept. So we'll draw it out one last time. Hitch, seam. This is going to be your dig. And then this is going to be your hitcher stick from Jolie. So same thing here. You got a good bit of depth up the top here. So Bailey is going to check that out first, and then he's going to come back over. And we can't see this play quite as well because we don't have a all 22 view of it. But I definitely wanted to include it because it's another good read through of this play. So let's get started. So 12 right there. You see 12 for East Carolina. Bailing toward the middle of the field. Bail. Bail. So you're looking at cover three. Bailey's eyes go to the hitch first. You can see which way his helmet's pointing. Doesn't like it, shouldn't like it with the flat defender getting over there. You can see his helmet turn right there. Everybody's well, I went back a little far, but watch his helmet turn off of that, and you can see it turn right back to whoever is running that seam route right there. That's what he's going to end up looking at. And he looks at it, and you can assume at that point, right, the middle of the middle of the field safety is rolled over there, and he's like, you just saw his head turn back to the high low on the other side, and here it is again. The guy's low, so there's probably going to be a window right here, and we'll see if there is. And there it is. Look at the space you're able to create, right? So your safety, I think, is all the way back over here. Yeah, that should be him up there. Jolie, this was the high-low, and there's your hole. So that's the concept, and Bailey understands how to read through it, and he's executing it at a much higher level by the end of the season. And this is what makes you excited about CJ Bailey. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that he was really good this year. He wasn't. He wasn't horrible. He was a freshman, and he played like a freshman. But the fact that you can see the growth, right? You can see him play through the same concept, right? He's reading through this really well, right? Alert, nope. Seam, okay, safety moved. Come back to the dig, come back to the high low. If this guy right here, we never saw this in the example, but if this guy was back over here playing this like high to low, you would just hit this. We never saw him have to get that far. But it's good stuff. Now, there's little things you could improve. Like, I mean, I think a couple of these good plays maybe were a little late. This one I don't think was as late as the Georgia Tech one, though. I actually think this is fine. Um, Georgia Tech one I thought might have been a little bit late, but yeah, I mean, that's perfect. Like, that's how that concept is supposed to work. And if you're going to play that against cover three, you should get something, right? At the very least, you should be able to hit that little stick route on the underneath side of the bow concept. Uh, this is even better. And he's reading that out. He's making good decisions by the end of the year. And that's what you want to see. Ultimately, that's all you can ask for from a freshman quarterback is to consistently get better. And while his performances didn't necessarily consistently get better over the season, when you watch him read through the concepts, especially these progression based concepts, right? This is progression based. They ran a lot of stuff that was not progression based, and I will complain about why they did that in another video, why they ran so much four verticals, stuff like that. That's for story for a different day. The guy who did that's not even on the coaching staff anymore, so whatever on that. But in these progression based concepts, he did better and better and better, right? We saw him execute some Y cross stuff later in the season that he wasn't throwing earlier in the year. That's a progression play, right? So there was an example. I don't have it on the screen. I could pull it up, but from the Stanford game where he got stuck on a read on a wide cross play and ended up scrambling and missed a wide open guy. Next game against Duke, reads through it really well. So it's you're watching that improvement, and I think sometimes improvement gets missed by just looking at stats and stuff. I think people thought Bailey was better at the beginning of the year than he was, and maybe they didn't think he was as good at the end of the year as he was. I thought he was pretty good at the end of the year, and a lot of the stuff that he did, and you just saw it happen, right? Go back to that first Clemson clip. That was terrible. I mean, he was out of the pocket for no reason. Look at that Syracuse clip. What is he doing? Like, you missed two chunk plays, one of them a touchdown. You're not missing those anymore, though, right? You're not missing those now. He's throwing the ball right into the window where it should be. He's reading through it perfectly, and that's really cool to see. So we'll see how much of a step he can take this year. But one thing that should be clear now is that a step is something he's capable of taking. So we'll have to see. So that'll wrap us up here. Thanks for checking us out. And if you like this kind of stuff, check out TrinityRoadTimes.com and Trinity Road Times Premium. We do videos like this 1-2 times a week. Football, basketball, men's and women's. Checking out some scheme stuff, some player development stuff, a wide range of things along these lines. Just $3 a month, and you'll get access to our premium message board as well. Yeah, check it out, and we've got a free trial going, and be sure to check out the website as well. We do a lot of writing over there, and I'll put the links in the description of the video. Thank you. Go Pack.